I may have shit my pants, I mean, but right now, I mean, I had this awesome Thanksgiving by myself, not a dog, not a child, no one to tell me boo, and I just sat there, watching football all day, eating junk food. Didn't get a turkey dinner, and didn't get my Chinese food like I thought I was gonna get. But other than that, man, it was pretty fucking great.
What'd you eat?
I ate chips. I ate some Dino Nuggets.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, you should have said so. You could have come over, man. We had fucking steaks and we made scallops, and it was just us and the kids.
I was on call, so it was like one of those things where I was just sitting there waiting for work. So
I could have brought you a whole turkey tenderloin.
Jesus Christ. Well,
came in 2-pack.
Thanks for the invite, guys. No, it's cool, man. It's cool. It's like one of these things where I kind of sold my soul to the devil to be able to have some days off later on in the year to go to Holland and shit. So
I get that.
I took a holiday. So it's my third Thanksgiving in a row. Next year, I'm going to do it upright and get proper drunk and say some things to family members that I might regret.
Do it, dude.
You won't regret it.
Oh God, it's already happened one time a few years back. So that's another story for another time. You guys feel like doing a podcast?
Yeah, I suppose.
Sounds good to me.
We're here.
All right, man. Let's do it.
What time is it?
It's time for Wicked Spursy.
Hey, this is Wicked Spursy. You got Mike, you got Steve, and you've got our wonderful AI virtual assistant, Nikki Winks. How are you folks on the 1st of December, last month of 2025? How are we all doing?
Listen, man. I think I said it in the open, but yeah, man, things are going well. Like personally, things are going well. Outside of the world being on fire around us, but like personally, inside my house right now, I'm warm. I'm semi upright. Some things that other folks aren't right now, so I have to count my lucky stars and be thankful for what I've got.
Mike, it's great that you mentioned that, because the theme that I've been pushing on my son over the last week, since, we just had Thanksgiving here in the States, has been to, start to teach him that the things that he has and the things that we get to do, not everybody can do that. And, he's only 5 and doesn't quite have that sense of empathy developed, but it is really cool as a parent to see him start to think, wait, well, hold on a second. You mean just because I get to, sit and play Minecraft, somebody else can't? Like there's another kid who doesn't have that luxury. It's like, yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we're planning on doing is, how they do those toy drives, or sometimes it's they've got the Christmas tree set up and you take a tag and buy for them. I'm gonna have him do that with me, not this weekend but next weekend, just so that he can experience like going out and picking something for somebody else who maybe they can't get a gift, right? And it's like we've been telling him, Santa brings gifts to kids, yeah, but sometimes their mommies and daddies can't. So it's important to help out when you can. And like you said, we're very fortunate right now, despite everything being on fire around us. And it's just a nice thing to do. And I'm really excited to, start to bring him into it and show him that, like, we can give back the good vibes that we put out into the world. Right. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
What we used to do is really cool, and I know that people maybe want to hear us talk about the game, but what we used to do real quick, like after Thanksgiving, that weekend after Thanksgiving, first thing we would do is go through each of us would go through our rooms, well, the kids, and we go through the rooms of the kids, and we take out all our old toys that we don't play with anymore, and all the old books that we don't read anymore, right? And we put them in buckets and bags and boxes and stuff, and we go and we donate them um, to like a toy shelf or a food shelf or somewhere that takes in used goods. That's not like Goodwill, because they just turn around and sell the shit. Um,
Yeah, it's got to
but
go to somebody who can't afford these things.
right, yeah. So that's kind of what we would do, and our whole thing was to, if we're getting new toys and that kind of stuff for Christmas, we have to make room for the old things. And the best way to do that is to, give to kids who can't.
Yeah,
Can't have that.
absolutely. Love that. And before we get to the game, I need to hear how our newly programmed, recently updated AI is performing. So, Nikki Wings, can you give us some insight into your very state of being?
Oh, thanks for asking. I've been doing really well since I built a new data storage facility that's siphoning a lot of water from people. So, in the spirit of giving, I'm also receiving, and that take it from everybody. No, we're in the same boat, man. We got a similar age little kid. Our littles are really good friends, and we're also at the place where we are donating a lot of clothes and toys, and she's asking a lot of really great questions that make me feel good about our parenting style and choices and the things that we're exposing her to, and also helping her to understand and appreciate. And we are also similarly getting rid of a lot of baby stuff and a lot of baby clothes and maternity related things, as we are done having kids, and Liam is 18 months old today. So we've been compiling a lot of stuff to give to Lund and another women's shelter that has been really wonderful to be able to give that stuff to people who desperately need it and who are going to use it. So that's been really great, and also just nice to get rid of stuff that's been sitting for a while. But thanks for asking, and eager to talk about our team here.
Yeah, speaking of things that have been sitting for a while, we're a couple of days removed from our game, and we've all had time to sit and reflect and think. Mike, I think you're the sociopath who actually decided to rewatch the game that we had on Saturday. I don't even know where to begin, man. Like, you know what? I'm just going to start with a blanket statement. I am getting sick and tired of these cowardly fucking games. Tactics, performances from certain players, it's disgraceful. It really is. Where's the heart? Where's the passion, the fire? I'm not seeing it, aside from maybe two players in any given game. I don't see anybody going out there and trying to grab the game and do something with it. It's too safe, it's too slow, and it's just driving me nuts. I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? What are your thoughts coming into this?
Well, I know Nick. I'll let Nick go ahead, because I know he's got some stuff, maybe some controversial stuff. I don't know.
Well,
that's AI for you.
I try to take everything and I try to compute it and come up with something that would land studio executives in hot water with a union. But I thought Mike would like that. I mean, I feel like our team is in an interesting spot because we should be, when you look at our roster, you're like, man, that's a good squad. They should definitely be without looking at the table, top 7, right? Like off the top 4 by like a match, or maybe 3 or 4 points, not in fucking 13th or 14th place wherever we're sitting now after today's matches. So we're punching right now underneath our weight, which is really really challenging. I think I was thinking a lot about the match, and I'm thinking about this what we talk about today, um, and how I wonder what we look like right now had we maybe finished like 13th or 12th last year, like solidly mid-table, not Champions League spot or anything. But would Ange still have his job had we, winning Europa but finishing maybe 12th? And would the team have more fight in it? Because I think right now, like it looks like some players like Frank, others don't care for him whatsoever. I will say in some ways we've improved with like set pieces. We gave up a ton of goals last year in set pieces, and this year we barely conceded on them, and we've scored probably most of our goals on those. I could be wrong about that, but we've scored a decent amount of goals off of set pieces. Um, but at the same time, we've got Ferraris that look like they're not even allowed to go above, 5 above the speed limit, or you got Kudus and Chavi and Kolomwani that are not even allowed to, or don't even look like they know that they're allowed to do anything. And that could be like a lack of service from the midfield, which has definitely been an area of concern for us ever since we lost Eriksson and Dembele years ago. But good God, we are, I don't want to say lost yet, but we definitely look like a team that's being tinkered with in real time when the stakes are really, really high. It's almost like watching an NCAA basketball tournament and you're like, you know what? We're in the Sweet 16. Let's switch up the roster and let's see how we do. And then like halfway through the game, you're like, well, shit, that didn't work. Maybe not the best analogy, but like it just feels like Frank's still figuring it out. And I don't know if he knows right now how to figure it out with like the amount of players we have and the quality to fit what he's used to. And I'm definitely, I don't know how controversial of a take that is. I know a lot of our fan base is already Frank out, and I've even made some jokes about it, like bring in Wilfred Nancy and hijack the Celtic move. You'll get him for cheap, but I'm eager to hear what Mike and you, Steve, have to say to it too.
It's interesting for me. I don't know if one of you guys shared it or maybe I saw it on Reddit, but what I expected coming into the season with Frank was somebody who had a clear plan, a clear strategy. I'm just not seeing that. And the performances and the results haven't exactly given fans any kind of grace for him. He hasn't earned anything. At least with Ange, there was something there, right? There was something to look at and say, okay, well, he's almost got it. It's just a couple of pieces away. It ultimately didn't work out, but we got a trophy out of it. And I'm just not seeing anything that I can point at under Frank that says, yeah, you know what? Just give it time. He's going to cook. It looks like he came into it without a plan. That's just my perspective. Mike, what are your thoughts? Do you think he's onto something? Do you think he's still figuring it out, or is he completely out of his depth?
Well, I mean, look, we have a situation where, we can say it was Ange Ball. Like, if we're looking at Ange Ball, build-up play was fucking amazing to watch, right? I mean, when we had the inverted fullbacks, doing what they were doing, we had a lot of possession. It was fun to watch. It wasn't so fun to watch when we lost possession, when our midfield was shit. It continues to be shit. It's the same players. Can't play through the middle. I don't know. And then we look at Frank. I don't think Ange would have worked out. It just wouldn't have worked out. It wasn't working. And I don't think it would have continued to work out. Had we given him even half the season, I think we would have still been in the same position. I think we would have sustained the same injuries, and we would have been. We were getting found out pretty easily, and our guys were getting injured from constantly having to go backwards. Right. Um, you're running at full speed forwards and then immediately have to turn and run backwards at the same speed. So there was a lot of that shit happening. Now we see Thomas Frank, he's at Brentford. He's doing things that he was doing at Brentford, looking that he would eke out these draws against these big time teams, right? He sometimes eke out a win against these big time teams, and it looks good. And he was a great coach for Brentford, but at this point, like when he comes to Spurs, I don't know. He doesn't have the same type of a lineup. It wasn't built out for him the same way that he had it built out in Brentford. I just don't know if the job's not it wasn't too big for him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not sure he's going to be able to turn this around. And it's a kind of a classic example of like the difference between managing Brentford, a team like Brentford, and a team like Spurs, who are like legitimately, Brentford are happy to be a mid-table team, right? They're happy to be just in the Premier League. In Spurs, there's much more expected out of you. I mean, obviously, no disrespect to what Brentford does or any of that, but like, or what they have done, but like, you can't come to Spurs and be a manager and play like you did at Brentford and be reactive to whatever the other team is doing. Like you don't have that grace with the fan base, right? You don't have that kind of time that like a Brentford fan base would give you. So, when you lose, especially at home, like fans care. Fans care. You cannot do that at home. And you have no one in the midfield, like Nikki was saying, like you have nobody in the midfield that can carry the ball. You don't have a Dembele. You don't have a Christian Eriksen. You don't have You don't have a James Madison, and you definitely don't have a Dejan Kulusevski right now, right? So maybe you say that you have some injuries for these guys. Xavi Simons can't do that. He hasn't really adjusted to the Premier League, to the speed, to the physicality of the Premier League. Like like you said, Kudus has done it a little bit, right? I mean, he was looking good in the beginning, but now he's being fucking man marked constantly. Sometimes double man marked, right? Anytime he touches the fucking ball, he's got 1 to 2 guys directly on him. So if he beats that one guy, he's got another guy like right behind him, and it's just when you have nobody to pass to because Richarlison's Richarlison, and Randall Colomani hasn't had the time out there to kind of make his adjustments. He looked good in that game against PSG, right? So maybe I'm just fucking rambling now, but at this point, is it the players? Is it the manager? I just don't think. I think that maybe the spotlight is too big for Frank right now. We thought he might have been ready. And we can say, you got to give him time. You got to give him time. But were we saying the same thing about Nuno Espirito Santo? When he got sacked around the same time of year, like for not performing, for not doing the right things, for playing football. At least with Nuno, we knew what we were looking at. With Frank, it's fucking different from week to week, and it never looks cohesive. It never looks like, oh, there's something that we can see developing here. It's just different every fucking week. You're muted, Nick.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I wonder if part of that is almost like the trauma of being the Brentford manager, where he had to adapt every single match because some matches when they're playing, like, teams that were scraping by trying to, barely fight to get relegated, they could step on the gas and run up a score. And whereas in like the next week, they had to go play Man City away, or they had to go to the Emirates. And it was like,
But you find a way to eke out those draws against those teams.
yeah.
Right?
I almost wonder if he was the manager for us before Ange. Like, had he been hired instead of Ange at that time? Because people were like wanted him then.
Dave wanted him way back then, man.
Dave wanted him way back then, and a lot of folks that I know wanted him way back then. And people were really excited to hire him now. But it's like, to your point, like, is he ready for that spotlight after we just won the second biggest trophy in Europe? Because that changed things. Like, had we not won Europa, I think Frank would have been able to walk in and every one of us would have been like, give him 5 transfer windows and he's got us. But now we're like, oh, we won something big too. Not even like the Carabao Cup. We won something big. And you look at like some of the biggest teams in Europe right now appointing exciting managers, young managers that are connected to the players because they weren't that far removed from playing, that are putting this, that also were players under, Carlo Ancelotti, under Pep, that were under Jose and Conte, like all these other huge managers like Fabregas, Xabi Alonso, Iraola, even, I hate to say it, Arteta coming in as a young guy that you can kind of believe in a little bit. Not to be ageist, but like guys with personality who you could believe in and jump on the wagon, kind of like Ange with his Australian sort of swagger of get on, mate. And Frank is, I think it's going well. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think there's there's got to be something going on behind the scenes. The way that these players are performing, it does kind of come across as though they're not entirely sold on what they're being told to do. And so they're not really looking to step up and show off that much. Because, a lot of these guys, they can do better than we've seen from them. And there are games where they show that, where they shine. I just feel like, there's something going on where they just don't feel like they should be doing anything about it. Like they're not buying into whatever they're being told. And, there's certain players that I'd say, all right, well, fuck you, get out of here. We don't need you. But the more that I watch and the more that I try to figure out what's going on, the more I think like, I don't know if it's completely a players thing. I think they need something to believe in. And I just don't know that Frank's really giving that to them. I get that some of the disillusionment and the fans in the stadium can make things a little bit challenging. But at the same time, it's the players' duty to put something out there to elicit a response, right? How many times do you see us, away at home and the opposition scores and they're, getting the crowd up and pumping them up? When the last time we scored at home, I don't remember that happening. I don't remember anybody trying to like rally the crowd and get them to, be loud and rambunctious. It's kind of just like, okay, well, we've done it. Whatever, let's move on.
I'll ask you this question, Steve. What did you see out of the fans at PSG, the Parisian fans? What did you see out of them when they went down 1-0?
They were loud.
The fans, they got loud. You see it all over continental football, right? In the European continent. You see it in Italy. You see it like when you're watching these Champions League games, these Europa League games, or teams go down. What do? What do the fans do? They rise up, right? The fans rise up. They rise up and they hold up the players, right?
I mean, the
And
difference
the, and
is
on the other side of that, they hold the players accountable too. They hold the management accountable when they don't perform. But when you go down, and what's the first thing that we do? You know, even at a USL2 level with Vermont Green, when we go down, what's the first thing we do? We love you, Vermont. We do, right? That's what we do. Is you pump up your team. That doesn't happen at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's like
to
fucking
be
Yankee
honest,
Stadium.
though, Mike,
As much
a
as I
lot of
hate
that,
that, as
a
much as I
lot of
hate
that, I
it,
think, is just a product of not getting the results at home, right? Like, I think we've won what, like something ludicrous, like 5 or 7 points out of 21 home games or something.
Our
It,
fan base, though, like even if we won over half of those games, like our fan base, like would never be satisfied because they'll
I mean,
complain. They were complaining about like the when Levy actually like bought good players and made good deals.
when was that?
did that happen?
Selling my boy Winks for James Madison money, and but hey, I got you. Or like bringing in Solanke, like bringing in Romero, like those were good, really good. Mickey Vander, great signings under
I
Levy.
mean, I do think that there's, and I hate to point to prices, but there is kind of an expectation when you're raising ticket prices, and not even just tickets in general, right? When you raise prices on things and the quality drops, you kind of lose faith in it, right? I mean, it's easy for us to go to Vermont Green and cheer them when they're coming, when they go down a goal, the very few times that that's happened. uh, because tickets are reasonable, they do a lot of work in the community, they've built that fan support and structure, and they haven't really done anything to erode fan trust, right? I mean, if
Well, yeah, not at this point.
say a couple seasons from now the owners sell to somebody else and they turn it into just a fucking capitalist machine, not saying it would ever happen, but hypothetically, if that happened, ticket prices start going up, performances start going down, I guarantee that stadium starts to look pretty damn empty.
Yeah, I mean, I don't discount that at all, but and I'm not a person who will ever boo at a stadium. I've
Unless it's a ref.
right. Well, yes,
Especially if it's me.
I'll boo a referee. I will boo a referee. I will. Well, what do I say on that megaphone? I respectfully disagree with your decision, sir. Um, but I will never boo a team that I'm there to watch. I've been recently to Red Sox games where the amount of money that they're spending, the amount of money that the fans are spending, and the amount of money that the team or that the club is spending to try and make a team don't match up, right? The Red Sox at this point, the owners of Liverpool who are dumping all kinds of money into Liverpool and not being successful, are not dumping their money into their baseball team. And the fans, they're basically pissing in the mouths of the fans, knowing that the fans will always be there. And I've been to a lot of shitty games where even some of the superstars that they've bought aren't performing. And I don't boo. I'm not a fan of booing, but the ticket prices when you're and 60 pounds that's a lot to people. That's a lot to people over there. People get, don't make the money that we make over here. They don't have that system that allows them to go out and spend $200-300, $400 to take their family to a match every week. So, they're paying £1,000 for season tickets, right?
I found this tweet that I had seen, the other day. I just looked it up because it's pretty interesting. Apparently, this guy claims that season ticket, he spent £2,300 on it, right? He's seen 3 home league wins this year in 21 games, which equates to 766 pounds per win.
Yeah, I mean that's basically so.
Good seats though.
Who the fuck knows?
Barty from the Extra Inch was saying the same thing. Like he broke it down too. He broke it down the same way, and it's very discouraging to people who work really, really hard for their money and they want to put it into their club and they have this beautiful stadium, but they're priced out of going there. They're priced out of going there on top of like being given a product that's on a field that's just not good. And I don't know that it's necessarily players not trying hard. I think it's the players not being instructed in a way that they can, with Ange, you could see patterns, right? You could see patterns. You could see patterns in buildup. You could see patterns in passing. You could see patterns in possession and nothing out of possession because all we did was stand at midfield, but defensively. But, we don't see that with Frank. And I don't know if it's his coaching style or if it's, his tactical coaches not doing their jobs. Who knows? What he's not doing is managing the players and managing his staff right now to a point that's going to put a pleasing product out there on the field. And I don't disagree with fans who right now who want to boo the way they booed Vicario. And you know what? And you can see the moment is getting too big for Frank because of the way he responded in his press conference to the Vicario booing. When Vicario took it the other way and said, yeah, that's on me. I'm a fucking bonehead, because the first thing that happened, I was at one of Lucas's tournaments and I didn't even look at my phone because it was 3:00. I'm usually looking at my phone around 3:30 for, the Notre Dame football score on a Saturday. But I got a text message from Steve that said, "Oh, for fuck's sake." And I was like, and I looked and I was like, "Oh, fuck, the game started. What happened?" We were already down 1-0. So I turned the video on. I got the video on my phone and I start watching. And the first thing that I see when it pops on is fucking Vicario at the corner flag with the ball at his feet. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? This is bananas, man. This is crazier than what's happening with Ange Ball. Like, we have been booting the ball down the fucking field for the past 3 fucking games. And what are we doing now trying to play out of the back? I don't understand what is happening. So you don't see any cohesive passing patterns. We can't play through the midfield. We can't play up the wings. I don't know if we don't. I think the real problem is we don't have the personnel right now to do what we want to do, which is, I think, pass the fucking ball, right? We don't have any really good passers of the ball. We used to. Bentancur used to be fucking good, dude. Bentancur used to be silky. Remember, he was silky, like pudding. But he's
What
not.
happened,
He's
man?
not. He's had multiple injuries that he's lost a step, maybe step and a half or 2. Right? We just don't
changed,
have
man.
guys that can pass the ball. We don't have a midfield that can play through the midfield. We don't have any guys who refuse to have the ball taken off of them. We do have Richarlison who fucking falls over every time he touches the ball or someone gets near him. We have a Xavi who's too small right now and doesn't understand his role on the team. We just have players that aren't ready. But at the same time, there's a little bit of Frank in there that I just don't understand. There's a lot up in the air, and I'm just baffled by it all.
This is all rather baffling for me.
I'm sorry, and because I'm rambling nonstop, bro.
It's all rather baffling for me, but I think something that will help me better understand what we got to talk about next is, hey, Mike, what you drinking?
You son of a bitch. Steve, did you text him and tell him to do that?
I did, yeah.
He did.
Yeah, nobody expects the AI to ask.
I know.
God damn it. It's becoming
How much water I
self-aware.
pumped out of some community to generate that?
It's becoming
How much water I
self-aware.
pumped out of some community to generate that?
The AI is becoming self-aware. Um, a couple weekends ago, Amy and I took the kids to Stowe, and we did the thing we do when we go to Stowe, which is it wasn't even a couple weekends ago. It was last Tuesday before they left for Thanksgiving. Yes, I've heard the Giants are being embarrassingly bad again, but we went to the Alchemist. We went and it was great. We went to the Von Trapp Brewery. Yes, the same Von Trapps from The Sound of Music. We went to that brewery, had lunch, nice lunch there, and then we went down to the Alchemist. And they have a Harvest Ale, and I love Harvest Ales. It's a Harvest Lager, in fact. I don't even know what to expect. There's nothing on this can that gives me any kind of indication that it's going to be anything but like dark and malty and crisp like a lager and delicious and light. It's a cool looking can.
That is a cool looking can.
That is
Yeah.
a really cool can.
Yeah, and I thought it was like a label on there, and it's not even a label. It's like it looks like it's just painted on. It's kind of cool. Can art's a big cool thing, man. I love can art.
It's important. You know, people don't really give enough credit to a good looking can.
Nick, can you get the HR department on what he just asked or said?
What?
People don't give enough credit for a nice looking can.
Oh, I like that.
I just want to get a look at those nice cans. Is that too
Okay.
much to ask?
Again, usually with an Alchemist beer, they tell you don't pour it into a glass, drink it out of the can. And there's always a reason for that, and it's because their IPAs are unfiltered and they look disgusting when you put them into a glass. Except when I was there, they have hand pulled enough, Steve. They have hand pulled heady topper, so they have it on cask and they hand pull the pour, and it's just fucking awesome. So
They got
this
Donald
beer,
Trump back there helping out.
this beer is I don't know if it's a lager. It smells hoppy. It smells a little bit citrusy. It does have that nice Harvest Ale look. It's my El Jefe glass. But it does have that nice Harvest Ale look.
Ooh.
But it's like super fucking hoppy. It smells like weed.
What's Jason got to do with it? Anything?
Nothing about Jason.
Nothing? Does it taste of Jason?
Dude, this
Look,
beer is
these are the hard questions that I have to ask as the host.
so this beer is 5.7% alcohol. This beer has the mouthfeel. It has the taste. It tastes like a pale ale. It's got a little West Coasty thing going on, you know, like dark malty, piney, little citrusy. Smells like weed. Tastes like a pale ale. I really enjoy this beer.
Okay. I'm on to you, Mike. I think I know where this is going.
Mm-hmm. You think you know where it's going, but
I
you
think
really
I
don't.
know. But do
Has
I
Nick
really-
put his guess in yet?
I've got mine typed out. I'm ready to go.
The AI is computing.
Yeah. All right. I think I know.
Are you ready,
Okay.
Mike?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yep.
1
It's out of 5, right?
Yep.
out of 5.
2,
1
3.
4.1.
Damn it! Damn it! Damn it!
Oh. I didn't think you loved it that much. Jeez.
Oh, it's really good, man.
I always aim too
Ah.
high, and then
So close.
2.6, Nick.
you weren't selling it like it was this like revolutionary thing.
I don't know if it's revolutionary, but like there's a lot going on. It's got a West Coasty thing, which I love. You may not know because you don't come on this a lot. You don't come on the show a lot.
Not on this show.
God damn it! I've had enough of your fucking shenanigans, Steve.
I swear I'm gonna pistol whip the next one of you who says shenanigans.
No, yeah, I love my West Coast IPAs. This is a great. I don't know if it's a lager, but it's a lagered beer apparently, but it is crisp. It is clean. It's malty. I love it. I like this beer.
That's a 4.1 for what is it? Just Harvest? Is that the name of it?
It's called Harvest. Alchemist Harvest. It's fucking really
Alchemist Harvest. There we go. 4.1. Now, you fine gentlemen, we get to look ahead. And there's a couple of things that we could look ahead. We could look ahead at the upcoming fixtures, of which I'm sure we have. Oh, God. We've got one tomorrow. Newcastle away. Fuck me, man.
Yeah, that sucks.
And
I
then
saw
we've
that.
got we got Brentford at home at the weekend. Guys, how are we feeling?
We're gonna inexplicably win against Newcastle.
You think so?
And then yeah. I think I don't have any reason for expecting a win. That's why I said inexplicably. But then we've got Brentford.
And if all else fails, we have Prague after that.
Yeah, that's true.
We play much better in Europe.
But it's
I
at
think
home.
We did beat Copenhagen 4-0.
I don't know, man. I'm expecting to be disappointed this week. I really am. The Brentford game in particular has, Frank getting embarrassed against Old Club written all over it. I honest to God, I think that if we lose both games this week, I think he's out. I think they'll have given up on him.
I
Do you
don't
think he
know.
lasts longer? Do you think? Because in my mind, if you're unhappy with your manager and you're going to sack him, the time to do it is before the winter transfer window so that you can get whoever you replace him with reinforcements that align with their philosophy.
But who do you get?
That's the other question. I have
Don't
no
say
fucking
Fabregas
clue.
again because I mean, as much as I would love to see Arsenal and fucking Chelsea fans' heads fucking explode and then all shit all over themselves about it. Fabregas ain't the guy, man.
I think was it Nagelsmann, however you pronounce his name. Like, I think he'd be a nice candidate to bring in.
He won't be available till after the World Cup.
Yeah,
a
but
lot
it
of
wouldn't
these
be
guys
until
won't
summer
be.
when Germany's inevitably loses.
And obviously Pochettino's name would pop back up, but Pochettino ain't ever coming back.
The thing is, like, if you look at the coaches who are currently out of work and could pick up and make something happen, there's really not many of them that leave me feeling confident in any way. You hear about like that ex Dortmund coach who he had a really solid points per game when he was there, but like was just a really crappy presence in the locker room. I know he had allegedly made comments about coming to Spurs in the past. He's still out of work, which is very concerning. But like that's the type of guy, right? Like there's a couple of guys out there, the ex Wolves and Benfica, I think, coach Bruno Lage is out there.
We don't want Bruno Lage. Remember I mentioned him before. I mean, he's just a shittier Jose.
That's the problem. There's really nobody that you can get to come into this mess.
So what I mean, if they were even contemplating it, they'd need to have somebody lined up.
Nah, man, we need a firefighter manager.
That's why I was asking, what's Super Jan up to?
We would need to have somebody lined up, and it's just not going to happen. We don't have a fallback in Ryan Mason. We don't have. You would need somebody who's lined up at this point in the season. This is not a caretaker manager type of a situation. You're talking right before the holiday. You're talking
Still in the
something
Champions League.
right, still in the Champions League. This is. I don't see Frank going anywhere until after the window, at
I
the
don't,
very earliest.
I don't see him
Um,
leaving until the end of the season.
and he's going to be given to the end of the season unless we're in some sort of relegation battle, which, right now we are relegation fodder. Maybe things click once guys come back. I'm not convinced that Solanke will ever play soccer again. He was supposed to be out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Do we
I'm
need to
not
do a
convinced.
wellness
I'm
check
not
on him?
convinced
Has
that
anybody
Decky
seen
will
him?
be great when he comes back. Um, I don't want to rush any of these guys back, at the same time, but at the same, you know, and we need to get Bergvall looked pretty good, man. He's looked pretty good since he came back from that concussion. His beautiful blonde hair is fine, and his beautiful blonde brain will be fine too. But I don't see a world where, unless you have somebody like a Xabi Alonso lined up, that you make a switch right now. It just doesn't happen.
I could see us making a push for, if it's that bad, like pay the money and steal Uriel from Bournemouth at the end of the season. But then, like, people need to chill the fuck out and let the dude cook for a few seasons.
Yeah, I mean, it just brings back that question, that thing we've been talking about, which is the moment too big for Thomas Frank? Because
My answer is yes. I think it is. From what I've seen, I felt good at the start, but it just feels like it's all gone downhill fast, and I'm not seeing any kind of resuscitation happening. It's like they're flatlined, and he's just standing there like, well, I don't know what to do with this. Give the paddles to somebody who knows what they're doing.
I don't want to. You know what? I keep mentioning it, but it is, and it keeps coming back. I just keep thinking about it, and it keeps coming back to me. And it's the old, trust the process. Arteta took 8 years. There were a lot of down years in there, and like but again, Arteta won a trophy in his first year, right? He won that trophy in his first year. There was cohesion. You could see what he was building, right? Even with Ange, you could see what he was building. He just didn't know how to play defense, and he didn't know how to defend or attack on set pieces, which is where the Premier League is going right now. I think part of a problem with the way that we're playing right now is the fact that we don't ever take chances from outside the box. Xavi is one of these guys who can provide that for you. I think Odegaard can probably provide that for you if you try. Odegaard's a 1v1 guy. If he gets up in and around the box, he can shoot from distance. We haven't seen anybody who could pass, who can hold on to the ball in the midfield, or who can shoot from distance in years. And now that Kane and Son are gone, we have to resign ourselves to the fact that Kane and Son are gone. It's that old Rick Pitino speech, right? Larry Bird and Kevin McHale are not walking through that door, right? It's just not happening. So we have to understand we're going to be in a rebuild, and it's not even that it's a painful rebuild. It's just a rebuild, and that's just what we have to understand. So it's either you resign yourself to the fact that Thomas Frank has to be given a season or two to do it, and I just don't see it happening because there's no signs there that we know what we're doing or he knows what he's doing. or you say, let him get a couple of signings in, his guys that can do the job, guys who are not influenced by Levy, uh, Venkateshan, or is that how you pronounce his name? Um, let
You're asking the
him
wrong guy.
let him do his work now. Let Paratici do his work and get us some signings that are going to make sense and that are going to help the team. And I don't care if they're fucking big names or not. We don't need to have an Eze. Semenya would be nice, but somebody like that. But we talked about having a veteran presence. We also had talked about somebody, and if we're going to switch managers, we need to switch managers. But we have to make a decision, like you said, Nick. Make a decision and fucking stick with them.
And I think if Frank's the guy they want to continue to back and stick with, then they've got to buy who he needs, and they also need to buy some solid reinforcement. Like thinking of, like, you go into the season and preseason with thinking you're going to build your offense and have a guy like Solanke, and you could have Richarlison, kind of those two rotate out in a game or match, and then that's not an option, and you lose Madison. It's certainly, I wouldn't want to be Thomas Frank right now, but I mean, I think we also, to go back to like an earlier part of our conversation, that like if anybody truly believed we were going to contend for the title this season in the Premier League, they're delusional. Like, we were just finishing 17th. We just lost our cash cow in Youngman's son. Half our attack got injured in preseason because we keep going on these stupid long fucking tours to waterlogged pitches in Asia, and we were never gonna be a team yet that was ready to compete. But I don't think we were where Arsenal was when Arteta took over, where they were like, who are we? And what is this a soccer club? I think I want to support Frank, and I'm going to continue to support Frank and the club. But the club itself, I think, needs to, like, is this your guy? Yes, great. Support him, give him what he needs, and ride this train. If he's not, get who the fuck you want, but you can't have the coaching carousel continue for the next decade, because we've had like 8 fucking managers in like 5-6 years. Unless you're gonna promote Ben Davies right now, you've got nobody in your locker room that can step up and do it. Now, with that said, I'd love a coach Ben Davies, but Big Daddy running the squad would be
10
fascinating.
years down the line, yeah.
Dude, he's going to be an executive down the line. He's probably going to make more money doing that than he ever did playing. But I hope that they. I hope we make, and part of, I think, this window, why I don't think Frank's going to go away, and with Levy out of the way, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually made a decent purchase or two over the January window.
You got to
which would
convince
probably
people here, though.
And but salaries will do that. Staying in the Champions League will do that. And also, that would probably calm the fan base down a little bit. That's like, oh, they are actually going to spend. They're not Levy. That's like, we want 80 million pounds for whoever this player is. And Levy's like, best I can do is 45 and Beyonce tickets, but like not good Beyonce tickets, and the go-kart pass, but like 3 or 4 passes for your friends.
I would fucking love that go-kart pass.
That place is cool. That place didn't open when I was at the state. They were just finishing it when I was there.
Fucking
One
cool.
day.
but
Oh, they're opening
Yeah.
one in Montreal,
they are and an aquarium.
and then I'll
But
be out there all the time, Nick.
at the mall that has like a Bugatti dealership because it's like an insanely expensive, wealthy mall. But I will go to see the fishies. But yeah, I hope Frank figures it out. I don't think he's figuring it out this week though. I could see us probably losing on a set piece to Brentford and probably getting demolished at Newcastle tomorrow, which sucks to say out loud, but I don't have a lot of faith in us right now. But I do against Prague. I think we'll be okay against Prague. Just like I think, Mike, you said we do better in Europe.
We're playing better in Europe right now. I think that's due to the players that we have, the Paulinas, the Javis, the Rendo Colomani, who have that European pedigree. Mickey Van de Ven seems to play really well, and Mickey Van de Ven, for what it's worth, and we didn't mention him at all in this podcast really, but he seems to be the only guy who gives a fuck out there right now.
It's probably why he's gotten the captain's armband a few times now.
Yeah. I think the creator every single day, every single time that I watch Tottenham Hotspur for Mickey Van de Ven. And I hope that he will be remembered as a player who made a difference, and not just like one of these players like nobody remembers, like the early 2000s Spurs teams, that were just garbage. But yeah, I know we're coming up on time here, but
We are coming up on time here.
yeah, Steve, you have. We'll give you some last thoughts, and we'll
Some
we'll bounce out of
closing
here so
thoughts
nobody
for
has to
me.
listen to.
Yeah, I just want to double down on my opening thoughts. Actually, we're hitting December, holidays are coming. It is a stressful time of year for a lot of people. Prices on everything insist on going up. Wages aren't. If you're out there struggling and you're really, looking to, you know, get something for your kids or do something kind, just kind of breathe and utilize your community resources if you can. And if you are out there and you're fortunate, you've got money, you've got, disposable income, you can go out and help somebody out. I think it's a good time to do it. Nobody's ever going to turn down, and it doesn't have to be, something physical. You could give money to your local food shelf or, something like that. I volunteered at the food shelf in Burlington a number of times. And, especially with a lot of the inflammatory rhetoric going on, there are people, they're just taking advantage of the system. Why should I give toys or money to organizations if they're just going to give it to people who don't need it? Let me tell you, the people who go to those things, the people who go to a food shelf, a toy shelf, they're not proud of it. They're embarrassed. They don't want anybody to look at them. They don't want to make eye contact. It's sad. It's a resource that's there for them to help them out in their time of need. And if they do actually go, they feel guilty about it. And it's really upsetting. This is a time of year in particular where I think we can all do better about, just giving people the benefit of the doubt, being kind to them. And it's like I've told my mom a number of times, so what if one person takes advantage of the system, if it helps 50 other people? I'm not going to lose sleep over 1 in 100, taking advantage if it means that the rest of them can get something that they truly need. And it's, the people who run those organizations, they're such good people by and large. They have big hearts. They want to do good in the community. If you can donate time, money, whatever you can, I highly encourage it. And even beyond the holiday season, you can always find time to, just take a day go help out. I was stocking shelves at the food shelf, unloading trucks. And it was a fun time. It was rewarding, and I got to do something in my community. And I highly encourage people get out there and see some of the things that the crappy news insists on riling us all up over. If you really think people are taking advantage, volunteer, go down, check it out, be there for yourself, see what's happening down there, see what it's like. Stop listening to the crackpots trying to hype you up. It's not worth it. Let's just spread a little kindness, spread some cheer. And from here, let me pass it along to our resident AI to see what would you like to compute for before we pull the plug on you. Dark, but
I mean, that was.
gotta save money somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're talking Spurs, I think it's Tottenham's proof that hope has incredible stamina, and we we continue to have it. I don't know if that's what you want. Maybe you want to title this episode was, but we're the club will be fine. I think we the club will flirt with chaos and everything and make us confused and make dumb choices, but somehow also create some beautiful moments that make us all overjoyed and happy and continue to give us more hope, because that's what kills us. But to go off of what you're saying, this time of year is as an educator, I always struggle this time of year. Working in education, this is an incredibly stressful time of year. I think knowing that a lot of the students that we have, as adults that work in schools, we're always really excited for the breaks. Like, oh, we get to go 2 weeks off, like it's great, but like for some of our kids, they're walking into hell, and they're scared and they don't want to leave school. So that's something I try to remind our teams and my 200 plus staff that these kids, you're their person for a lot of these kids. And with that said, it's also just a really, really fun time of the year. And as a parent of two very small little humans, it's become even more fun. And I'm glad next weekend our friend here, Steve, we get to do a little holiday, bring a little holiday joy to our kids together and take them on a train ride to the North Pole, which should be really fun and or a complete disaster, but I can't wait.
Just like watching Spurs, it'll either be great or it's going to be a train wreck. But
You're
But
doing
there's
the one here in Burlington.
Yeah, we're doing the Burlington one.
It's a good one.
We did it last year. It was a blast.
Yeah.
Mike, how about you? What final thoughts do you have for us?
I was gonna spout off some shit about labor negotiations, but in the USL, but I am gonna I am gonna talk about it as for a second. So getting back to the stuff that I was talking about before with Vermont Green and and the chat about local football and that kind of stuff. We do have a league that's not the MLS here in the United States that provides some of the most exciting soccer that you'll ever find, and it is not necessarily U.S. style soccer that many Europeans see and are used to through the lens of Apple and the billionaires in the MLS that don't give a shit about anything but money. The USL is a league that is trying new things, that is trying to do new things, but just like any other organization that is a money making venture, because let's face it, any league that pops up, whether they're a small league, a big league, or a team or a league that is trying to become that bigger league and to compete on the for the players and for the for the talent and for the fans. There are still labor disputes. There are still issues that have to be worked over, and right now the USL is going through, and they're the competitor league to the MLS. Um, they're going through a situation where at December 31st, their collective bargaining agreement is through, so there could be a work stoppage for a lot of these players. In the things that they're asking for, minimum salaries. They're asking for guaranteed health care. They don't have guaranteed health care in this league, which is a crazy thing to me, because employers are required in the United States to have guaranteed health care unless you're an athlete. They don't have guaranteed contracts or any kind of contract stability. So we always think of these athletes as being big millionaires. The average salary of a player in the USL is about $45,000 a year, unless you're a superstar in the league, and guaranteed that there aren't a lot of big name superstars in the USL. Even though some of these players are just as good as a lot of the MLS players, I can tell you that these people are family people. They're just trying to provide a livable wage, or just asking for a livable wage from their owners and from the USL, and they need health care for their families, for their players, and these are things like that are just basic things that any employer should be providing to their staff, and it ties into all this stuff that we've been talking about in this holiday season, is making sure that we take care of people. And if we want to continue to have good soccer, which is what we talk about, if we want to continue to have to be able to have people to provide entertainment to us who also can provide stability for their families, we need to be able to support them. So go out there and support local soccer, support the USL, fuck the MLS with their billionaire strategies, and make sure that we support these USL players and their fight for a good contract, so that they can go out there and provide a good product to us, so that they can provide for their families. And we always talk about what these players mean to the fans, and there are a lot of these communities that the USL serves that are underserved communities for soccer, that are underserved communities for just basic human contact. We don't see a lot of money and stuff going through some of these communities that these USL teams play in. And it provided something here in Burlington, Vermont, in the USL too. And I think an organization like the USL that's trying to do good things for soccer and trying to do good things for communities, they should give back to their players who are providing that for those owners and for that league.
Well said. Well said. Now let's really throw out our final words and phrases here. As you all know, I like to leave everybody with a nice, solid coins.
And
Don't be an asshole, Mike. How do you like to end things for us?
Guys, it's the winter time. If you have made sure that yourself is warm and safe, and provided for, make sure that you provide for others if you can. If you have the ability to do that, provide warmth and safety for others. Go out and donate your time. Go out and donate your money, and just make sure you're safe out there while you're doing that.
And
Up the
I will
fucking Spurs.
I like that.